death of Matthew Perry.
These defendants took advantage of Mr. Perry's addiction issues to enrich themselves.
The developing details tonight, multiple suspects now arrested and charged in the death of celebrated Friends actor Matthew Perry. Those charged include a licensed medical doctor and a supplier known as the ketamine queen. But prosecutors are now alleging, and how it all leads back to one big criminal enterprise. Plus,
we're a failing nation because of the way it's been run for the last 3.5 years.
The major day in politics that could shake up the 2024 campaign. Donald Trump holds a press conference in New Jersey, blasting Vice President Harris as the Democratic nominee for president prepares to unveil her major economic message tomorrow, while President Biden announces a landmark deal, cutting drug prices for tens of millions of Medicare recipients. And
people are waiting outside for me to open the door. I open the door, they zoom in. I don't even have time to enter the door because they want to get their stuff because they know I put love into it.
Non-processed foods are hard to come by in inner city communities, but one chef and small business owner is trying to change that, one customer at a time. Tonight, we report on the woman inspiring others, baking from the heart while helping to educate and provide for her neighborhood. Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including tracking Hurricane Ernesto as it hits Bermuda after inflicting major damage to Puerto Rico. Plus, the search for an escaped North Carolina inmate continues tonight after he escaped from a prison transport van. And surveillance cameras captured two scary attempted kidnappings that just happened miles apart on the same day. But we do begin with a shocking turn in the death of Matthew Perry. Tonight, 5 people, including 2 doctors, are under arrest, accused of conspiring to provide Perry with a powerful anesthetic that ultimately killed him, all in order to enrich themselves. The 5 accused include the beloved actor's personal assistant and those doctors. One doctor allegedly texting, quote, "I wonder how much this moron will pay." For 10 seasons, Perry made people laugh playing Chandler Bing in the wildly popular show Friends. But behind the laughs, he waged a grim and ultimately losing battle to stay sober. Perry was found dead in a hot tub at his home in October. An autopsy showed the cause to be the acute effects of ketamine. His assistant admitted to injecting him with the drug 3 times that day. Matthew Perry's family says they remain heartbroken, but they are looking forward to justice taking its course. ABC's chief national correspondent Matt Gutman leads us off from L.A.
Tonight, that stunning development in the death of Friends star Matthew Perry. Federal prosecutors charging 5 people in connection with the fatal overdose that killed the 54-year-old.
These defendants took advantage of Mr. Perry's addiction issues to enrich themselves. In the end, these defendants were more interested in profiting off Mr. Perry than caring for his well-being.
Last October, Perry was found dead in the hot tub of his Los Angeles home, the medical examiner determining he died from the acute effects of ketamine. Today, the U.S. attorney detailing what he called a broad criminal network responsible for illegally distributing large amounts of the drug to Perry.
Over 2 months, from September to October 2023, they distributed approximately 20 vials of ketamine to Mr. Perry in exchange for $55,000 in cash.
At the center of the operation, Jasveen Sungha, an alleged drug trafficker known as the ketamine queen, and licensed medical practitioner Salvador Plasencia, known as Dr. P.
Defendant Plasencia saw this as an opportunity to profit off of Mr. Perry. He wrote in a text message in September 2023, quote, "I wonder how much this moron will pay."
Court documents show that just days before Perry died, his personal assistant, Kenneth Iwasama, paid Dr. P $21,500 in cash. The doctor then injecting Perry with a large dose, though he knew Perry was in trouble.
Plasencia saw Mr. Perry freeze up and his blood pressure spike. At another point, Plasencia admitted to another patient that Mr. Perry was spiraling out of control with his addiction. He knew this was wrong, and he knew he was risking Mr. Perry's life.
And yet they continued to sell.
And yet they continued to sell it.
Perry's personal assistant pleading guilty to 1 count of conspiracy, admitting to authorities he repeatedly injected Perry with ketamine, even injecting that fatal dose. Documents showing the assistant injected Perry with at least 3 shots of ketamine the day Perry died, starting at 8:30 a.m. And before administering that last dose, the documents say Perry asked his assistant to shoot me up with a big one. The assistant later found Perry face down in the hot tub. 2 others, including another doctor, pleading guilty to charges related to distributing the drug. Ketamine is a common anesthetic which is legally used for treatment-resistant depression, but it's also abused as a recreational drug with euphoric and psychedelic effects. Perry, writing in his memoir, ketamine felt like a giant exhale. A year before his death, the actor speaking to our Diane Sawyer about his decades-long battle with addiction.
Addiction, the big, terrible thing, is far too powerful for anyone to defeat alone. But together, one day at a time, we can beat it down.
Yeah. Your disease is just outside, just doing one-arm push-ups, just waiting for you, waiting to get you alone.
Addiction, such a persistent disease. Matt Gutman joins us now. And Matt, I know that you're following developments happening in that courthouse right behind you. Give us a sense of what comes next for this case.
Really, just in the past few minutes, Lindsay, Dr. Placencia, one of the main defendants, pleading not guilty. He faces up to life in prison if convicted. And Jasveen Sangha, the so-called ketamine queen, she faces up to 120 years in prison if convicted. She's also pleaded not guilty. And earlier today, Keith Morrison, his family putting out a statement. He, of course, was the stepfather of Matthew Perry, saying they remain heartbroken by the loss, but they look forward to justice taking its course. Lindsay.
Matt Gutman from Los Angeles. Matt, thanks so much. In a speech today, former President Trump doubled down on his plans for the economy ahead of Vice President Harris's rollout tomorrow. He reprised much of what he said yesterday while also attacking Harris on immigration. ABC's Rachel Scott is with the former president in Bedminster, New Jersey tonight.
Tonight, as Vice President Kamala Harris prepares to unveil her plan to crack down on price gouging at the supermarket, Donald Trump trying to undercut her message.
Kamala is reportedly proposing communist price controls. She wants price controls. And if they worked, I'd go along with it too, but they don't work. They actually have the exact opposite impact and effect. But it leads to food shortages, rationing, hunger, dramatically more inflation.
His comments coming as inflation hits a 3-year low. Today, Harris's running mate accused Trump of rooting for failure. I asked the former president about that.
Governor Tim Walz is out on the campaign trail today, and he's been saying that he believes that you want things to get worse so that you can campaign on it, that you're rooting for failure. What's your response to that?
I wish I didn't have to do this. They're going to ruin. She's going to ruin our country. Going to ruin our country.
I also asked Trump about his controversial comments about striking workers, what he recently told the billionaire Elon Musk.
I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay, you're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone.
You praise how he treats workers, saying they go on strike and you say, that's okay, you're all gone, so every one of you is gone. Are you really comfortable with companies threatening to fire workers who go on strike?
Well, no, I want companies to get workers that are going to love them and work for a wage that lets the company make a profit so they can go and expand. Elon wants to run an efficient company, and if he has to he got rid of a lot of people on X, or former Twitter. A lot of people gone, and it still works. It still works. So you got to run the company productively.
In the rambling news conference, the former president again hurling personal attacks against Harris. Some of his own Republican supporters have begged him to stay focused on policy. But today, Trump making it clear he's not going to change.
I think I'm entitled to personal attacks. I don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't have a lot of respect for her intelligence. And I think she'll be a terrible president. And I think it's very important that we win. And whether the personal attacks are good, bad, I mean, she certainly attacks me personally. She actually called me weird. He's weird.
Rachel Scott joins us now from Bedminster, New Jersey. Hey, Rachel, any sense of what Trump plans to do next week during the DNC?
Yeah, Lindsay, well, we are learning tonight that the former president does plan to counter-program quite a bit to the Democratic National Convention. He is expected to be out on the road, out on the campaign trail, doing some of those rallies next week. But you heard there in that piece, the former president making clear he's not backing away from any of those personal attacks on Vice President Kamala Harris, just saying flat out he just does not have a lot of respect for her, Lindsay.
Rachel Scott from Bedminster, New Jersey. Rachel, thank you. Next tonight, President Biden and Vice President Harris making their first joint appearance since the president announced he would step aside, celebrating the landmark deal to negotiate lower prices for tens of millions of seniors on Medicare. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang.
Tonight, President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris appearing side by side for the first time since she replaced him at the top of the ticket, touting an administration victory, lowering drug prices for millions of seniors with Medicare.
In the United States of America, no senior should have to choose between either filling their prescription or paying their rent.
Standing together on stage in Maryland, the president saying Harris understands what seniors are facing.
Kamala and I both get it. We know it isn't just about health care, it's about your dignity.
For the first time, the government negotiating directly with manufacturers, lowering out-of-pocket costs for seniors prescribed these 10 drugs, Xarelto and Eliquis to prevent strokes and blood clots, Jardiance and Januvia, which treat type 2 diabetes, Farxiga for people with chronic kidney disease, Entresto to stave off heart failure, Enbrel for arthritis, Imbruvica for blood cancers, Stelara for Crohn's disease, and Fiasp and Novolog, both insulin products for diabetics. The new prices, which go into effect in 2026, expected to save Medicare and taxpayers billions. A 30-day supply of the blood thinner Eliquis currently has a list price of $521, now negotiated down to $231, savings that will be passed on to seniors. Cancer patient David Mitchell travels to Canada for the generic version of Eliquis because it's so expensive at home.
The savings are going to be tremendous. Instead of having to pay $129, I'll pay something in the range of $50.
While support for Harris has grown among younger voters and other key demographics since she's entered the race, she has not gained ground with seniors. Biden at her side today trying to change that.
Folks, I have an incredible partner. The progress we've made, she's going to make one hell of a president.
Selena Wang joins us now from the White House. Selena, what more are we learning about how Harris will try to define her economic policy?
Well, Lindsay, this is going to be a really big moment for her tomorrow in North Carolina. She's going to be on her own, laying out her plan for the economy to the American people. A campaign official tells me she's going to be proposing a federal ban on price gouging on groceries and up to $25,000 in down payment support for first-time home buyers. Lindsay?
All right, Selena Wang for us. Thanks so much, Selena. And be sure to tune in Monday for ABC News Live's all-day coverage of the DNC. Will be live from Chicago that night and through the week. Now to Hurricane Ernesto, churning up the waters off the East Coast and threatening Bermuda as it pulls away from Puerto Rico. Meteorologist Cecily Tynan from our Philadelphia station WPVI is back with us again tonight. Cecily, time this out for us.
And Lindsay, after drenching Puerto Rico, Hurricane Ernesto is back over open waters. It's slowly strengthening and it's pushing to the north. So hurricane warnings are in effect for Bermuda. Ernesto is expected to pass very close by on Saturday, bringing a dangerous storm surge, widespread flooding, and hurricane force winds. And it's also really going to be churning up the Atlantic. So that means high surf, rip currents all on the table for the East Coast over the next 3 days. Now, this is the setup. The front that right now is bringing severe storms across the Midwest, that will be pushing to the east. So what that does, it nudges Ernesto out to sea once it passes Bermuda. It also brings clouds, showers, and the threat of thunderstorms to the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, unfortunately, right in time for the weekend. So the weekend forecast shows that threat of rip currents. Beachgoers, please take it seriously. And also, summer warmth continues across the South. Lindsay?
All right, maybe not the most ideal beach weekend coming up, but Cecily Tynan.
No, unfortunately not.
We thank you so much. Appreciate it. Overseas tonight, Ukrainian forces have pushed more than 20 miles into Russian territory. These images reportedly show more than 100 Russian soldiers allegedly captured by Ukrainian troops. Tonight, President Zelensky says Ukraine is setting up a command center in an occupied Russian town. Here's our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell.
Tonight, dramatic scenes of what Ukraine's security service says is the capture of more than 100 Russian soldiers yesterday. The location and date of the video obtained by Reuters hasn't been independently verified. It comes as Ukraine claims to have pushed over 21 miles inside Russia, occupying over 440 square miles of territory. President Zelensky declaring Ukraine is now in full control of the small town of Sudzha, 6 miles from the border inside Russia. Zelensky said Ukraine's military is now setting up a command office in Sudzha, suggesting they may be planning to stay longer term. But tonight, the Kremlin's pouring reinforcements into the fight, even pulling some troops from eastern Ukraine to shore up the home front. Russia's defense ministry releasing its own video purportedly showing Ukrainian prisoners of war being marched off by Russian soldiers. Prisoner exchange already being discussed.
Ian, thank you. And from Russia tonight, a Russian-American former ballerina has been sentenced to 12 years in prison after being convicted of high treason for donating $50 to a charity aiding Ukraine. Ksenia Karolina pleaded guilty to making the donation. She's a dual citizen and was arrested in January while visiting family in Russia. We spoke to Karolina's boyfriend, Chris Van Heerden, earlier today.
I don't even think it crossed her mind that donating $50 to Ukraine would even be a problem. You know, I tried to bring up the conversation about the war once or twice, and she completely shut me down. She just didn't want to have anything to do with what's going on in the war because she is proud to be Russian as much as she's proud to be American.
U.S. officials say they're working to make contact with her. Now to the Israel-Hamas war. The death toll in Gaza has surpassed the grim milestone of 40,000 people killed, according to the territory's health ministry. It comes as urgent talks for a ceasefire and hostage release are underway in Doha, which includes a delegation from the U.S. ABC's Tom Suvi-Burge reports from Tel Aviv tonight.
Tonight, with those critical ceasefire talks now underway, deadly violence in the West Bank. At least one dead and several others wounded after armed Israeli settlers raided this Palestinian village, throwing Molotov cocktails. The IDF making one arrest and condemning the violence. But tonight, Hamas is calling for retaliation at a volatile moment for the Middle East. Earlier, President Biden urging Hamas and Israel to reach a Gaza ceasefire deal.
My team is in Doha right now. There must be peace.
Today in Gaza, a grim milestone as the death toll in the war reaches 40,000, including 11,000 children killed, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. And tonight in Tel Aviv, protesters on the streets calling for a ceasefire deal.
Well, you can see some of the demonstrators are blindfolded. This demo is called Last Chance. There's a sense here that this could be the last chance to get some of the hostages home alive.
This woman saying the stability of the region is at stake.
What would it mean to you to get a ceasefire deal and get the hostages home?
Everything. Stopping the war means a chance for avoiding regional war.
The search for an escaped North Carolina inmate continues tonight after he escaped from a prison transport van on Tuesday morning. Ramon Alston was in a transport vehicle for a medical appointment at around 7 a.m. Tuesday when Alston managed to free himself from his leg restraints, ran out of the vehicle into the woods, still in handcuffs. Hundreds of law enforcement officers have searched more than 1,300 acres looking for him. Alston was sentenced to life in prison for killing a 1-year-old. And we have much more to get to here on Prime tonight. Surveillance cameras capture 2 scary attempted kidnappings that happened just miles apart on the same day. But next, these pastries are more than just sweet treats. For some, they're a window into a whole new world. In tonight's Prime Focus, meet the bakery owner who's challenging norms and trying to change her community in the process.
There was a specific moment during our wedding. I looked at Jason, I looked at my children, and I realized this was real. That was my husband, and this was our family. We live in a very beautiful place, and sometimes the beauty masks what really is going on. Jason seemed happy. We all just thought the world of him.
This is her knight in shining armor.
Everything felt right. All of a sudden, I found this hidden folder. I opened it, and I don't think I can say it. I'm sorry. I just need a break. She put her hand to her mouth and, gasped. It's shocking, gut-wrenching. I realized that my life will never be the same. Jason would kill me before he would let me tell anyone this part of him. He is in so much freaking trouble.
My stomach just dropped. I remember just feeling like, what the hell?
That was my dad. It did not feel real. It felt so shocking, like, what is going on?
Never in a million years did I ever think Jason capable of something so horrific. What did I miss?
That's when that fire inside of me shifted to like a flame. I was like, it's on. I lured Jason to a public place. The whole police squad pulls up. I hear the most awful sound, like blood curdling out of this world scream. And I realized it was coming out of me.
Betrayal is one of the hardest types of trauma to overcome.
Those letters and those apologies were to make him feel better.
Everything that he said was a lie. How could he do this? He just really didn't think I had it in me to do something. So I did.
Betrayal, A Father's Secret, the all-new season, only on Hulu.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Keep streaming with ABC News Live. Tomorrow morning, it's G-Easy, Good Morning America, and you, jumpstarting your summer weekend hot. Only on Good Morning America's Summer Concert Series, sponsored by Wayfair.
They call him the Beauty Queen Killer. He's targeting young women in malls.
I am single. I want to enjoy the company of a member of women.
He tortured me.
How did she survive 9 days of terror?
The word accomplice came up.
Nobody knows the real story.
The Beauty Queen Killer, only on Hulu.
Welcome back, everyone. French pastries are renowned as some of the best, and a Brooklyn bakery owner is putting her own spin on them while going above and beyond to support the community in the process. She's even accepting food assistance funds, also known as EBT. It's all part of a mission to expand access to the types of food offered in underserved communities. We traveled to the historic Bed-Stuy neighborhood to meet the owner of Je T'aime Patisserie.
We are at Je T'aime Patisserie. My baby, my first ever business. Je T'aime actually means I love you. My name is Jete. I'm a lover. Everything that has to do with love, family, friends, relationship, food, community embodies everything that I am. So my slogan is made from love, not made with love. Every day I wake up at 3:30 a.m. and I'm just like, let's get to it. I really love what I do. The French cooking techniques are very intricate, very detailed, very technical. So knowing that I like to solve problems and knowing that I love a challenge, I just gravitated towards their technique of baking. All of my recipes are my own. I create them from scratch. I call it like black girl spin on French pastries. The quality of food here is very important. I try to be as local as possible. I try to make sure that everything that we do is, one, helping the community, but also helping the people who are living in this community.
So the focaccia is caramelized onions.
We don't use any coloring. We don't use any processed anything. We put fresh berries. We make jams here. We put it on the fruit Danish, our jalapeno cheddar biscuits. Everyone loves the ham and cheese croissants, the chocolate croissants, the almond croissants.
Do you want to heat it up?
People are waiting outside for me to open the door. I open the door, they zoom in. I don't even have time to enter the door because they want to get their stuff because they know I put love into it. I'm not gonna say never, but we barely have any leftovers, so people know that anytime they come here, it's gonna be fresh every single day.
Do you want that? So this is my third time coming this week, and I absolutely love the almond cappuccino.
It is really refreshing to watch
this business thrive in this neighborhood. If anyone has been here in Bed-Stuy for a decent amount of years, we've watched how not just businesses move, but people. Despite how many ways that people like to talk about Bed-Stuy and disparage it and say that Black and brown people are destroying the neighborhood, we have a neighborhood of love.
This is Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, a historically Black neighborhood. It just encompasses everything that I wanted for my business, to serve an underserved neighborhood. So it was important for me to make sure that I put an impact on communities that not only I come from, but that I want to see grow and flourish as well. We do accept EBT SNAP here, and the process for me to get EBT was quite easy because the space doesn't look like your typical Black-owned business. No one actually came into my doors until like the 4th month. I got a lot of feedback in the beginning like, oh, we thought you were just another white person gentrifying the neighborhood. No one knew that we accepted SNAP and EBT. When I told my friends and my family and even people in the neighborhood, they were like, you don't want to be associated with those type of people. And it's just like, those people were my mom. Those people are my family. Those people are my friends. Those people are people who live across the street from me. So if you live across the street from a bakery, you can never go in because you can't afford, how is that okay? People need access to affordable food, healthy food. It's not sitting in a store for weeks, that was sitting on a truck for weeks, that was sitting in a factory for weeks. This is food you getting fresh from my oven, straight to your mouth. We've had a lot of people come in here, I never had a freshly made croissant, or I've never had a quiche, or I've never had a mousse cake, or I've never even tasted anything vegan because it's too expensive.
Before coming here, I never really had a lot of the stuff that we make. I've never even heard of a lot of the stuff that we make. I've been making brioche bread, I've been making croissants. It's all a learning experience and I really love it. Hopefully one day I could do something like this.
I've been working for the last 22, 23 years of my life. This is actually the first time I've come into a workplace that's just fun.
Most of my staff are interns, and in return, they receive education from me on how to do everything here.
You get 3 sheet trays, 1 sheet tray for each cake.
They are able to access all of my recipes. I do have 2 baristas that are on payroll.
Thank you so much.
Everybody's here by God's grace, just helping me run my business. I'm actually in the process of working with the community organizer to have the bakery become a residency kitchen where I have people who may have wanted to open a bakery or a business and couldn't have. I want it to be literally a space for the community to grow with, for us to pour out love as well as get love.
I love how she's committing back to the community. So I just want to support the business.
Being able to witness another Black woman have the courage to run a business is empowering. The aesthetic and the feel and the environment, it actually motivates me to get the ball rolling with my own business.
Being a generational curse breaker, it may be for some people, they may be able to carry that weight, but I don't choose to carry that weight. I choose to start new generations of goodness. So I'm not a generational curse breaker. I am a generational starter. So I want to create my own way, just start something new.
Baking a fresh start there. And still much more to get to. Coming up, new details in the case of a child who was handcuffed on a field trip. Her mother reveals why the teen fell asleep that day. But next, can you feel the heat? We take a look at the latest numbers on just how hot it's been this year by the numbers.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. On June 10th, 1985, New York Magazine published Hollywood's Brat Pack. I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. From then on, my career and the career of everyone who was involved was branded to the Brat Pack.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I've never talked to anybody about what that was like. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who was in the Brat Pack. Hey, Emilio Estevez. This is Andrew McCarthy calling you. Hey, Allie. Hey, Demi. Hey, Molly. Let's call Rob. Hello. Judd? Me? You around? You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack for years.
I turned everything down.
How come you're talking to me?
Because you called me. It was time that we clear the air on a couple of things.
I love your stuff, Bob. Hey, thank you. I hated the Brat Pack for decades. What a disaster. If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you?
It really irritated me. They said, what's more important to you, the movie or your life? And I said, the movie, Andrew.
Have you talked to the others? The others, like, again, it feels like a cult or something.
Yeah. Why did we take it as an offense?
Well,
As
'cause you
opposed to
called
like
a brat.
Because we were young.
We were afraid we were brats, you know? Are you in the Brat Pack?
I'm Brat Pack adjacent.
That's what I was saying.
I am not in the Brat Pack.
Crush on you back in the day?
You did not, Andrew. No, you did not.
Being in the Brat Pack not only changed all of our lives, it changed what entertainment is. I mean, I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985, I think we could have.
So what are you filming?
Oh, we're just doing this documentary.
What's it about?
Ancient history.
When it matters most, America turns to David Muir and ABC's World News Tonight. Friday night, the 2020 true crime, Pamela Smart, the infamous case that had everyone talking.
It has sex, betrayal, and most importantly, murder.
A beautiful 22-year-old woman having an affair with a 16-year-old boy.
She told him that the only way we can be together is if you kill my husband.
And now, after 34 years in prison and a dramatic plea for a last chance at freedom, her emotional, stunning new admission. 2020, Friday night on ABC.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up? Well, how about everything you need to know?
Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food.
It's all coming up on GMA 3. You're gonna love it. We'll see you then.
GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons. For everything you need to know. I love that.
Me
too.
Reporting from the Normandy coast for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, has had a busy summer keeping on top of changes in the Earth's climate and how that's likely affected weather here in the United States. In a press conference today, NOAA had some alarming new information, and that is tonight's By the Numbers. It is official. January through July this year has been the #1 warmest first 7 months of any year in the last 175 years. July was also the globe's 14th month in a row of record warmth. And NOAA today said there's a 77% chance this year will be the warmest year on record. So far this year, the global surface temperature has been 2.3 degrees above the 20th century average. Global ocean temperatures are also breaking records and are now the second warmest they've ever been through last month. NOAA reiterated last week that the near record sea surface temperatures still make it 90% likely we'll see an above normal number of hurricanes in the Atlantic this season. Climate change, as we know, makes extreme weather more likely, and be it hurricanes or fires caused by drought, such disasters are costly. Through July, there have been 19 separate billion-dollar weather-related disasters here in the United States. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime. The Democratic National Convention is set to be star-studded. How celebrity culture could shape this event and the election cycle. And at just 15 years old, he may have revolutionized the future of cancer treatment. Time's Kid of the Year tells us about his groundbreaking research.
Baywatch is a fantasy.
Baywatch was sexy. Baywatch was the #1 show in the world.
It was hot.
When you hear that theme song,
idea how much fun I was going to have.
It was addicting. People were just hungry. They were eating that stuff alive.
It was a wild time, and I was a wild chick.
Everyone tuned in to watch the show because you knew you were going to see someone sexy.
I mean, everybody was pretty.
Not just white women can look hot and sexy. Anyone can do it. Jason Momoa exploded off of Baywatch.
Carmen was a bombshell who had something to say.
Pamela Anderson was an icon.
Pamela was the sweet girl from Canada who came to get the American dream.
I'm really proud of everything I've done. Almost.
Baywatch was a whirlwind of epic highs and bitter lows.
It was a lot of pressure. They had to wear next to nothing. You want me to wear this? What?
He with the best abs wins, or she with the best boobs win.
They just wanted to put you under a microscope and see where your flaws are.
Everybody was disposable, and if you didn't fit into their brand, you were gone.
Baywatch empowered me. Every now and then it hurt me. But so do the people and the things we love. I need to take a break, okay?
Greed and lust, fame.
It's crazy.
It changed everything.
It was about pushing the envelope.
Iconic. So hot.
Everyone likes to watch sexy things.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives, and the magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky, Minneapolis, Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska. Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
Scary videos show attempted kidnappings in Texas. A mother tells her story after her child was handcuffed on a field trip, and the ticket woes for a major festival. These stories and much more in tonight's Rundown.
A warning for parents everywhere. You see in this door camera video, first obtained by ABC affiliate WFAA, the moment apparent kidnappers tried to take a group of 9-year-old boys. Gina Skolnick telling us her kids were having a play date at her house when 2 vehicles pulled up near them. The boys taking off, running and screaming. Moments later, you see someone running after her son, Jonathan.
She said, get in the back of the car.
Just miles away, earlier that morning, another near kidnapping. You see a teenage girl hiding behind a neighbor's car, trying to avoid being taken by a man.
A Detroit judge has been temporarily removed from the bench after handcuffing and detaining a teenager on a field trip. Judge Kenneth King of the 36th District Court tried teaching a teen who allegedly fell asleep in his courtroom a lesson by placing her in handcuffs and jail clothes and having her detained. Meanwhile, the teen's mother, Latoria Hill, spoke with ABC affiliate WXYZ about how upsetting the incident was for them. She says her child was likely tired because they don't have a permanent residence at the moment.
Would you want someone to treat your child like that? Would you even treat your child like that?
The defense rested in the manslaughter trial of Susan Lawrence, the Florida woman charged with shooting and killing her neighbor, Ajike Owens, through a closed door last year. Lawrence herself opted not to take the stand in her defense.
I am not going to testify.
Owens had gone to Lorenz's home to speak with her about a dispute over Owens's children when Lorenz fired the shot through the door. Both sides are slated to make their closing arguments tomorrow, with the jury expected to receive the case that same day. Actress Jenna Rollins has died over a career spanning 6 decades. She won 4 Emmy Awards and was nominated for 2 Academy Awards. She frequently collaborated with her husband, director John Cassavetes, and their son Nick, who directed The Notebook, in which Rollins starred. Rollins was 94 years old. The Burning Man Festival is reportedly suffering from lower ticket sales. The festival has sold out each year since 2011, often quickly, but tickets this year are still available ahead of the kickoff on August 25th. The New York Times reports that Marian Goodell, the chief executive of the Burning Man Project, expects the festival's population to be in the low 70,000s, while last year's event had over 74,000. That festival last year notably had some heavy rain, leading to extensive mud and traffic jams. Another milestone for New York Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge, hitting his 300th career home run last night against the Chicago White Sox. It's the fastest anyone in the major leagues has ever reached number 300. Judge needed just 955 games, beating the previous record by 132 games.
Next week's Democratic National Convention will have a lot of star power both inside the arena and events around town. Celebrities like John Legend, Lil Jon, Sheryl Lee Ralph, Busy Phillips, Anthony Anderson, and Jesse Tyler Ferguson, just to name a few, are all reportedly expected to be in Chicago. ABC News contributor Mike Muse joins us now to talk more about this. Hello, Mr. Muse. How you doing?
Hey, Lindsay, how are you today?
I am good. Those celebrities are just a few of the names that we know so far. Many signed up after she became the nominee. What does the star power bring to her campaign?
Lindsay, it brings a lot of awareness to the campaign, first and foremost. It also, too, really helps, depending upon the celebrity, it can really help pull out that demographic. In particular, if it's something of a celebrity or an artist who appeals more to the younger demographic, that can really help round out the enthusiasm within the young vote.
And a recent Harvard study found that celebrities are influential in promoting some civic engagement, but could this end up backfiring at all? I mean, how much celebrity support is too much and could start alienating everyday people who are watching at home?
Another great question that you ask. I often talk to campaigns across the board on both sides regarding how to impactfully use influencers and celebrities. If a celebrity or influencer has never talked about healthcare, you probably don't want that celebrity out on the campaign trail discussing really technical healthcare policies. You want to be able to use the celebrity or the influencer that can speak authentically to the subject matter that you're looking to draw out. Because once you have somebody who's speaking that doesn't have authority in that space, that is what turns off the American public. That's what turns off the audience. Most times you want to be able to use celebrities and influencers strategically. Think, Lindsay, voter registration drives, ways for them to get introduced to the campaign and to our policies, to drive traffic possibly to the campaign's website to learn more about the policies.
Of course, Republicans did have some celebrities at their convention like Kid Rock and Hulk Hogan. So do you think that they'll stay away from pointing out the star support she has or still take aim at it?
I think they're going to lean into that. It's interesting that you brought up Kid Rock. That's a good example of when to use a celebrity the right way that appeals to that demographic and to that audience. Kid Rock speaks to that MAGA wing of the Republican Party. And since then, Kid Rock is going on a tour really promoting the policies of former President Trump, as well as some of the energy of the demographic that makes up the MAGA wing of the Republican Party is supporters of Kid Rock. And so that is how they are help drumming up the enthusiasm, in particular in key states and battleground states.
As you well know, Mr. Muse, there are still 2 major celebrities many are looking to, Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Beyonce, of course, has given permission for Harris to use her song Freedom as her theme song, but Taylor hasn't shown any public indication of if she'll endorse anyone. Do you think that their engagement could really have a big impact, even if it comes much closer to Election Day?
Absolutely. I think for the fact that Beyonce gave permission for Vice President Harris to use freedom, that is an unofficial endorsement unto itself. The only way a candidate across the board can leverage an artist's song is if the artist gives them permission to do that. So by baseline definition, it's an unofficial endorsement. I do think that you will see Beyonce possibly coming out a little bit later. If you notice with Beyonce and Taylor, they're not afraid to use their political voices whatsoever, but they usually come in more so what I call during the GOTV, the Got the Vote efforts, which usually comes within the 30 to 60 day mark outside of election. That's when they come in to really drive the forces out.
Always appreciate your insight, Mr. Muse. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Linsey. See you soon.
Tonight, Taylor Swift was back on stage in London for the first time since an alleged terror plot forced her to cancel shows in Vienna last week. Security was heightened at Wembley Stadium with 90,000 fans expected for each of her 5 shows. ABC's Rena Roy reports.
Fans sporting sequins, sparkles, and friendship bracelets pouring into London's Wembley Stadium. Taylor Swift taking the stage for the first time since an alleged terror plot targeted her shows last week in Vienna. Security now extra tight.
The security measures are already in place. The fact that this incident happened in Vienna just raises the temperature a little bit around security.
All of the Vienna shows were canceled and 3 suspects were arrested, accused of planning an Islamic State-inspired attack at the venue. 90,000 fans are expected for each of the pop star's 5 sold-out London concerts. A new rule banning people from so-called tailgating when fans without tickets gather outside the venue.
Honestly, there's risk everywhere. We didn't want that to cut us off from something that was really about kindness and experiencing the world from a position of kindness and love.
Best friends Carrie and Sarah from North Carolina also had tickets in Vienna before the shows there were called off.
Local police and authorities have really tightened down on security here. I know that Wembley and London have had a lot of big shows here and have experience with things like this. I feel safe. Completely.
These Swifties from Minnesota were also supposed to see her in Austria, but ended up getting last-minute tickets for London instead.
We came from Minnesota. We went to Vienna. Yeah. That show was canceled, so now we're here.
It's very scary.
But we're glad to be here, and we're glad to be safe.
Our thanks to Rena. Hopefully everybody is enjoying that concert tonight. It is a $2 billion arena that could be a hallmark of the 2028 Olympic Games. But for now, it's the new home of the LA Clippers. ABC's DeMarco Morgan got an up-close and personal look at the Intuit Dome and why it's like nothing we've seen before.
Madam Chief, it is a pleasure to see you. Pleasure. Good to see you, too. Look at this. Wow.
Spanning 26 acres of land and with close to 18,000 seats, this is a look inside the LA Clippers' new arena, Intuit Dome. For the past 25 years, the team has shared a venue with the LA Lakers, but now the Clippers owner, Steve Ballmer's multi-billion-dollar passion project is changing the game.
So everybody's VIP when you come.
Everybody is VIP, and then these buttons allow us to interact with the Halo boards. And you can charge your cell phone, right? So you can check on the babysitter or get your Uber home.
The woman leading the charge is CEO of Halo Sports and Entertainment, Gillian Zucker.
Is it safe to say that you can't find an arena like this place in the world?
I think that you can find pieces of this arena everywhere in the world because we traveled the world looking at arenas, exploring the types of things that the fans who were at those arenas loved.
This is huge.
44,000 square feet of LED, so it's a full acre of LED, two-sided, and it has a perfect view from every seat in the house. And there you are.
Well, how about everything you need to know? The Halo board. I heard you had to, sort of go back and forth with Steve on it.
He said, this could really change everything for people. It could provide an opportunity for us to educate and entertain. Some of the letters on it are over 2 feet tall, so it is massive, and I think it's going to provide a pretty incredible experience.
At the Intuit Dome, we tested out everything from the Clippers practice facility.
That's it.
To their upscale dining menu featuring game day classics like chicken fingers.
This is it.
Yeah.
The chicken fingers are juicy too, they're not dry.
So we tasted about 20 different chicken fingers before we chose the supplier for it. We've spent a lot of time making sure that each of these food items is something that you're going to crave the next day.
And you know I had to get in on the sushi.
This is good.
Then it's a look at the view from the nosebleeds.
We mounted t-shirt cannons all along the top of the halo board, and they move up and down so that every single seat in Intuit Dome has a chance to catch a t-shirt.
And next, the sweet seats.
You feel like you're part of the whole experience. It also helps with acoustics for music, so you get to hear everything perfectly. So we have every high school basketball jersey in the state of California, girls and boys, so that kids from all over California can come and they can find themselves at Intuit Dome.
You and Steve were very big in making sure that the community had something to do with this project. Why?
Because it is theirs. We built this for them, and we wanted everybody to feel like this was a place that enhanced the neighborhood.
As the Intuit Dome gears up for the upcoming basketball season and 2028 Summer Olympics,
Look out! Pop, pop, it's showtime.
the countdown to opening night began.
We are so excited about Bruno Mars. He's the perfect entertainer to open this space.
And talk about the other things that we can expect to see in this arena.
We have more than 20 concerts booked before the Clippers ever play their first game. We have a big corporate function who's booked it for their holiday party. We have a lot of other sporting events in addition to just basketball that'll be here. We're really excited that people consider this to be a community space, and we'll use it for all sorts of things.
How does a young girl from Inglewood, New Jersey, make it to Inglewood, California, and put something like this together?
So fortunate to be surrounded by so many people who shepherded me along the way. The idea that I had the opportunity to be a part of this project and that ultimately we're able to share this with the world, it's very exciting.
And for our final stop, the Clippers locker room.
Are you serious? You trying to make a brother cry? Wow.
Wow, just wow all around. Our thanks to DeMarco. Heyman Bekele has long been passionate about science. He's been whipping up so-called potions of household ingredients since he was about 4 years old. But now his inventions are making a big impact for the future of skin cancer treatment. Such an impact, in fact, that Time magazine has named him the Kid of the Year. And 15-year-old Heyman joins us now. So nice to meet you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here.
So I imagine happy, there are a whole bunch of words, ecstatic maybe. What was your initial reaction when you found out you were Kid of the Year and you're going to be on the cover of the magazine?
It felt surreal. I mean, to be completely honest, I'm still fully taking it in now. More than anything, well, of course, I felt so happy, but as well as that, really inspired and motivated because, you know, I'm still 15 years old, but this experience has shown me that even at a young age, my ideas can be heard and valued. And so it'll definitely be something that'll motivate me in the future as well.
And so when you were 4 years old, a lot of kids are playing with, you know, trucks or Legos. What made you decide playing with different ingredients?
I mean, you know, the initial curiosity that I had starting at a very young age, I guess just stemmed from, again, like that childhood curiosity, wanting to test different things out. It was really not to, you know, go towards a specific objective. I was really just mixing together random household chemicals to try to find a reaction that looked cool. So whether it was laundry detergent, baking soda, it was all really just to have fun. And of course, it's nowhere near the cancer research I'm doing now, but I really do credit it for it growing to the curiosity I have today in the lab.
And you mentioned the cancer research. For people who need skin cancer treatment in particular, costs usually run in the tens of thousands of dollars. But you have a novel idea to make treatments for skin cancer more accessible. Explain.
Yeah, so my bar of soap is called SCTS, which stands for Skin Cancer Treating Soap. And pretty much it's this compound-based bar of soap charged with different cancer-fighting chemicals, the main one being this drug called imiquimod. Without getting too in-depth into the science of it all, just a general explanation is that it's a more affordable and accessible alternative to modern-day skin cancer treatments, which, like you said, can span into tens of thousands of dollars.
The 3M Company and Discovery Education were blown away by your idea and selected you for the Young Scientist Challenge. That's, of course, an honor in itself, but it also awarded you with a $25,000 prize. What do you plan on doing with the prize money?
Most of the money will probably be used just towards my further education, putting it away for college. But then as well as that, of course, pursuing an idea like this can be a little pricey when it comes to the legal certifications, the patenting. So a little bit of the money will also go towards that as well.
And of course, you're just a rising 10th grader at this point, but not just attending high school. Tell us about the work that you're doing at Johns Hopkins and the Bloomberg School of Public Health.
So this past summer, I spent pretty much every weekday down in Baltimore working at the Bloomberg School of Public Health alongside the Rebecca Lab, where I was injecting mice with skin cancer, testing the bar of soap on the mice, collecting data, analyzing the results. So I've been doing a lot of work just towards progressing the bar of soap, starting to find some more statistical validation with the mice models and, just overall pushing towards acquiring FDA certification one day.
And what has this experience working in the lab with other scientists taught you?
It's taught me so many different things. One example I could give is really just that initial curiosity that I had when I was younger, how to apply that in a more professional manner now. I'm not just mixing together household chemicals. Now I'm working with actual substances that can have an impact on other people's lives. And so really learning how to stay curious in a lab environment and always, always, always continue to use that curiosity to help others.
And as you know, the process of testing a product like this and then eventually getting it through FDA approval could take maybe a decade. Does that discourage you in any way?
But not really. I mean, of course, there are times where when you hear it could take almost a decade, it's a little bit discouraging. But at the same time, I'm always really motivated by the idea that even if it would take a decade, at the end, this bar of soap would be in the hands of somebody else, making a direct impact on their lives. So as long as it might take, I'm still very motivated and excited to see where it will go.
You're already making a direct impact on so many lives. Just, I would imagine other young people seeing you on the cover of Time magazine. So proud of what you're doing, Heyman. Continued success. All the best to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, the latest in the multiple arrests and the death of actor Matthew Perry. The Texas police say prove they sought to take advantage of him. And why hundreds of thousands of demonstrators took to the streets in India.
It was a regular day for 19-year-old Melissa Witt.
She went to meet her mom at a bowling church league, but she never makes it into the bowling alley. Something terrible had happened to her. Melissa was a good kid. She had big dreams for her life.
And then she disappears.
My gut knew this was not a young girl who just took off and ran away.
New information into the disappearance of Melissa Witt. Pools of blood were found by detectives.
We were sick to our stomachs.
I just love to have her back more than anything in the world.
It is a heart-wrenching day for the family of 19-year-old Melissa Witt.
Police found the body in the Ozark National Forest.
You had several suspects.
All these kinds of leads. Who could have done this?
You have a known serial killer in your area.
Could he be involved?
Find the evidence, find the DNA profile.
We had to find that person. Time was of the essence.
Every blood spot matters. Every piece of DNA matters. You're looking for that game-changing piece.
We're actually finding key evidence that could have slipped through the cracks.
One of our guys says, you're going to see this.
There's another one.
What could be underneath these headstones?
Her last hours on this earth were probably the most horrific a person can experience.
This beautiful young girl. Police will find out what happened.
At wit's end, the hunt for a killer. Now streaming only on Hulu.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
Stefan Bourgoin was this titan of the true crime industry.
But the story was never consistent.
All these fans were combing through his stuff. His career is built on lies.
It is unfolding in front of us.
Is it dangerous?
I needed to hear what he had to say about it all. Am I about to step into this chamber of horrors?
They call him the Beauty Queen Killer. He's targeting young women in malls.
I am single. I want to enjoy the company of a member of women.
He tortured me.
How did she survive 9 days of terror?
The word accomplice came up. Nobody knows the real story.
The Beauty Queen Killer, only on Hulu.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News live.
Good evening, everyone. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Linsey Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. We have a lot of news to get to this evening, including the developing details tonight. Multiple suspects now arrested and charged in the death of celebrated Friends actor Matthew Perry. Those charged include a licensed medical doctor and a supplier known as the Ketamine Queen. Plus, Donald Trump holds a press conference in New Jersey, blasting Vice President Harris as the Democratic nominee for president prepares to unveil her major economic message tomorrow. And one day after the World Health Organization declared Mpox a global public health emergency, the first case of the viral infection has been reported outside of the African nation. We'll tell you where. But we do begin with the shocking turn in the death of Matthew Perry. Tonight, 5 people, including 2 doctors, are under arrest, accused of conspiring to provide Perry with a powerful anesthetic that killed him, all in order to enrich themselves. The 5 accused include the beloved actor's personal assistant and those doctors. One doctor allegedly texting, quote, "I wonder how much this moron will pay." For 10 seasons, Perry made people laugh, playing Chandler Bing in the wildly popular show Friends. But behind the laughs, he waged a grim and ultimately losing battle to stay sober. Perry was found dead in a hot tub at his home in October. An autopsy showed the cause to be the acute effects of ketamine. His assistant admitted to injecting him with the drug 3 times that day. Matthew Perry's family says that they remain heartbroken, but they are looking forward to justice taking its course. ABC's chief national correspondent Matt Gutman leads us off from L.A.
Tonight, that stunning development in the death of Friends star Matthew Perry. Federal prosecutors charging 5 people in connection with the fatal overdose that killed the 54-year-old.
These defendants took advantage of Mr. Perry's addiction issues to enrich themselves. In the end, these defendants were more interested in profiting off Mr. Perry than caring for his well-being.
Last October, Perry was found dead in the hot tub of his Los Angeles home, the medical examiner determining he died from the acute effects of ketamine. Today, the U.S. attorney detailing what he called a broad criminal network responsible for illegally distributing large amounts of the drug to Perry.
Over 2 months, from September to October 2023, they distributed approximately 20 vials of ketamine to Mr. Perry in exchange for $55,000 in cash.
At the center of the operation, Jasveen Sangha, an alleged drug trafficker known as the Ketamine Queen, and licensed medical practitioner Salvador Plasencia, known as Dr. P.
Defendant Plasencia saw this as an opportunity to profit off of Mr. Perry. He wrote in a text message in September 2023, quote, "I wonder how much this moron will pay."
Court documents show that just days before Perry died, his personal assistant, Kenneth Iwamasa, paid Dr. P $21,000 in cash. The doctor then injecting Perry with a large dose, though he knew Perry was in trouble.
Plasencia saw Mr. Perry freeze up and his blood pressure spike. At another point, Plasencia admitted to another patient that Mr. Perry was spiraling out of control with his addiction. He knew this was wrong, and he knew he was risking Mr. Perry's life.
And yet they continued to sell.
And yet they continued to sell it.
Perry's personal assistant pleading guilty to one count of conspiracy, admitting to authorities he repeatedly injected Perry with ketamine, even injecting that fatal dose. Documents showing the assistant injected Perry with at least 3 shots of ketamine the day Perry died, starting at 8:30 a.m. And before administering that last dose, the documents say Perry asked his assistant to shoot me up with a big one. The assistant later found Perry face down in the hot tub. 2 others, including another doctor, pleading guilty to charges related to distributing the drug. Ketamine is a common anesthetic which is legally used for treatment-resistant depression, but it's also abused as a recreational drug with euphoric and psychedelic effects. Perry writing in his memoir, ketamine felt like a giant exhale. A year before his death, the actor speaking to our Diane Sawyer about his decades-long battle with addiction.
Addiction, the big, terrible thing, is far too powerful for anyone to defeat alone. But together, one day at a time, we can beat it down.
Yeah. Your disease is just outside, just doing one-arm push-ups, just waiting for you, waiting to get you alone.
Addiction, such a persistent disease. Our thanks to Matt for that. In a speech today, former President Trump doubled down on his plans for the economy ahead of Vice President Harris's own economic rollout tomorrow. Trump reprised much of what he said Wednesday while also attacking Harris on immigration. Rachel Scott is with the former president in Bedminster, New Jersey tonight.
Tonight, as Vice President Kamala Harris prepares to unveil her plan to crack down on price gouging at the supermarket, Donald Trump trying to undercut her message.
Kamala is reportedly proposing communist price controls. She wants price controls. And if they worked, I'd go along with it too, but they don't work. They actually have the exact opposite impact and effect. But it leads to food shortages, rationing, hunger, dramatically more inflation.
His comments coming as inflation hits a 3-year low. Today, Harris's running mate accused Trump of rooting for failure. I asked the former president about that.
Governor Tim Walz is out on the campaign trail today, and he's been saying that he believes that you want things to get worse so that you can campaign on it, that you're rooting for failure. What's your response to that?
I wish I didn't have to do this. They're going to ruin. She's going to ruin our country. Going to ruin our country.
I also asked Trump about his controversial comments about striking workers, what he recently told the billionaire Elon Musk.
I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay, you're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone.
You praise how he treats workers, saying they go on strike and you say, that's okay, you're all gone, so every one of you is gone. Are you really comfortable with companies threatening to fire workers who go on strike?
Well, no, I want companies to get workers that are going to love them and work for a wage that lets the company make a profit so they can go and expand. Elon wants to run an efficient company, and if he has to he got rid of a lot of people on X, or former Twitter. A lot of people gone, and it still works. It still works. So you got to run the company productively.
In the rambling news conference, the former president again hurling personal attacks against Harris. Some of his own Republican supporters have begged him to stay focused on policy. But today, Trump making it clear he's not going to change.
I think I'm entitled to personal attacks. I don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't have a lot of respect for her intelligence. And I think she'll be a terrible president. And I think it's very important that we win. And whether the personal attacks are good, bad, I mean, she certainly attacks me personally. She actually called me weird. He's weird.
Rachel Scott from Bedminster, New Jersey. Next tonight, President Biden and Vice President Harris making their first joint appearance since the president announced he would step aside, celebrating the landmark deal to negotiate lower prices for tens of millions of seniors on Medicare. Here's our senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang.
Tonight, President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris appearing side by side for the first time since she replaced him at the top of the ticket, touting an administration victory, lowering drug prices for millions of seniors with Medicare.
In the United States of America, no senior should have to choose between either filling their prescription or paying their rent.
Standing together on stage in Maryland, the president saying Harris understands what seniors are facing.
Kamala and I both get it. We know it isn't just about health care, it's about your dignity.
For the first time, the government negotiating directly with manufacturers, lowering out-of-pocket costs for seniors prescribed these 10 drugs, Xarelto and Eliquis, to prevent strokes and blood clots, Jardiance and Januvia, which treat type 2 diabetes, Farxiga for people with chronic kidney disease, Entresto to stave off heart failure, Enbrel for arthritis, Imbruvica for blood cancers, Stelara for Crohn's disease, and Fiasp and Novolog, both insulin products for diabetics. The new prices, which go into effect in 2026, expected to save Medicare and taxpayers billions. A 30-day supply of the blood thinner Eliquis currently has a list price of $521, now negotiated down to $231, savings that will be passed on to seniors. Cancer patient David Mitchell travels to Canada for the generic version of Eliquis because it's so expensive at home.
The savings are going to be tremendous. Instead of having to pay $129, I'll pay something in the range of $50.
While support for Harris has grown among younger voters and other key demographics since she's entered the race, she has not gained ground with seniors. Biden at her side today trying to change that.
Folks, I have an incredible partner. The progress we've made, she's going to make one hell of a president.
Selena Wang reporting, and be sure to tune in Monday for ABC News Live's all-day coverage of the DNC. Will be live from Chicago that night through the entire week. Now to the Israel-Hamas war. The death toll in Gaza has surpassed the grim milestone of 40,000 people killed, according to the territory's health ministry. It comes as urgent talks for a ceasefire and hostage release are underway in Doha, which includes a delegation from the United States. Tom Sufi Burge reports from Tel Aviv tonight.
Tonight, with those critical ceasefire talks now underway, deadly violence in the West Bank. At least one dead and several others wounded after armed Israeli settlers raided this Palestinian village, throwing Molotov cocktails. The IDF making one arrest and condemning the violence. But tonight, Hamas is calling for retaliation at a volatile moment for the Middle East. Earlier, President Biden urging Hamas and Israel to reach a Gaza ceasefire deal.
My team is in Doha right now. There must be peace.
Today in Gaza, a grim milestone as the death toll in the war reaches 40,000, including 11,000 children killed, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. And tonight in Tel Aviv, protesters on the streets calling for a ceasefire deal.
Well, you can see some of the demonstrators are blindfolded. This demo is called Last Chance. There's a sense here that this could be the last chance to get some of the hostages home alive.
This woman saying the stability of the region is at stake.
What would it mean to you to get a ceasefire deal and get the hostages home?
Everything. Stopping the war means a chance for avoiding regional war.
Tom Sufi Burge reporting. Still much more to get to tonight. What would happen if a plane crashed into a nuclear power plant? A hard-stopping thriller that aims to uncover what could happen in this worst-case scenario. But next, it's something you've probably never heard of, a sea organ, where visitors are flocking to hear it.
Whenever news breaks,
we are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland, let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines from southern Israel.
Outside the Gaza Strip.
In Beirut.
From the FBI. Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Money. Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here.
It's always a good time. That's what the show's about.
That's good.
Really good.
Very good.
Coming in hot. Jimmy coming in hot.
It's far from elementary. Good morning, America.
I'm not going to try to strut like Michael or anything.
I have known George a long, long time.
Have you ever known him to dance?
Look at that thing.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be here.
I am here and so happy. I'm in. I'm in too.
I'm in.
That tells you something when Snoop Dogg's in. Michael, George, Lara, Ginger.
I'm Rachel Scott on the campaign trail in Pennsylvania. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Overnight in India, hundreds of thousands of demonstrators took to the streets in protest of the brutal rape and murder of a young female doctor who was sleeping after her 36-hour shift at a hospital in Calcutta. The crime has fueled anger in India over a lack of safety for women. The trainee doctor was found dead on Friday, and a police volunteer was arrested in connection with the crime. One day after the World Health Organization declared Mpox a global public health emergency, the first case of the viral infection has been reported outside the African continent. A person in Sweden is receiving treatment following travel to Africa, where a dangerous new strain of Mpox is circulating. The CDC says the risk in the U.S. is low, noting robust wastewater analysis and clinical testing is in place. And if you need a moment of zen, take a listen to this. Those melodious chimes are emanating from a sea organ, an intricate system of resonant chambers hidden beneath marble steps. The ever-changing tunes are delighting visitors to the coastal Croatian city of Zadar, where the sound is powered entirely by the force of the sea waves below. When a pilot suffers a heart attack at 35,000 feet, a commercial airliner filled with passengers crashes into a nuclear power plant, becoming the ground zero for a national crisis with global implications. In her newest release, Worst Case Scenario, TJ Newman delves into the intense pressures and moral dilemmas that are faced under extraordinary circumstances. TJ Newman, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So when we're talking about this kind of scenario that you've created here, I find it fascinating because it just so happens, the book came out on Tuesday. Just in the past week or so, we've seen this equipment fire failure at the largest nuclear power plant in our country. And at the same time, a passenger plane in Brazil that plunges to the ground. You have these kind of two scenarios combining together in your book. How do you come up with these kind of worst case scenarios?
Yeah, the title of the book is apt. It really is the worst case scenario that I could come up with. And the way that I got to it was actually by talking with pilots. When I was doing research for my first book, Falling, I would ask them questions about, you know, the nuts and bolts and policies, procedures of flying, but I would also ask them emotionally, what's that like? What's the mental side of being a pilot? And I would ask them, what's your worst fear? And one day I had a pilot tell me, my worst fear is a commercial airliner crashing into a nuclear power plant. And I thought he was kidding, so I kind of brushed him off and told him all the reasons why I thought that was silly, you know, that we live in a post-9/11 world. We've shown that these structures are fortified, on and on and on. And he listened to me, and when I was finished, he said, that's exactly what they want you to think. So when I went to research for this book, I quickly discovered that there was a lot of validities to his fears. The premise of this book is completely plausible.
Therefore, that begs the question, how concerned should we be about these kinds of worst-case scenarios actually coming to fruition?
If you read the book, it sounds terrifying, and it is, and the concept is terrifying, but it's not about the crash, it's about what happens afterwards. It's about how people respond to what happens. We can't prevent something like this, so what are we gonna do about it if it does? That's the question that the book answers.
And to that point, how is this as terrifying as it is hopeful?
It's about people, it's about heart, it's about us working together. The story takes place in a small town in rural Minnesota, the type of place, unlike New York City or Los Angeles, these places deemed too big to fail. These are the forgotten pockets of this country, and it's the people on the ground working together to say, we're not gonna let this happen.
Do you think that it's accurate? I mean, because when you read a book like this, you have to wonder, well, is that true? Is that how this would really unfold? And so I'm curious, when you have this large-scale event that becomes actually a global issue, does it ultimately really trickle down to just a few people who are making the decisions in regard to how you respond to it?
I think so. I researched this extensively, and, you know, I'm reading papers by former chairs of the NRC that are telling, in no uncertain terms, you know, there are potentials that we don't have solutions for. There are vulnerabilities that we do not have answers for. And at that point, who is in the room? Who is the person making these decisions that show how we respond to an incident?
Do you ever wonder or fear that somebody reading your book who has ill intentions gets an idea?
I think I'm a flight attendant with a big imagination, and anybody that has ill intent is gonna... I'm sure I'm not the first person to think of any of these things. I just happen to be the person that made it into a story.
You made it into a story. Now it's being made into a movie. Did you ever think, as you were writing your books, that they were going to be on the big screen?
I dreamed big, but that is beyond my wildest dreams. Both of my first books, Falling and Drowning, have deals with Universal Pictures and Warner Brothers. Paul Greengrass, the director of United 93, Captain Phillips, he's directing. Steve Clovis, who adapted the Harry Potter books for movies, he's adapting Drowning. It's exceeded my wildest dreams.
We appreciate it. TJ Newman, thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to let our viewers know that you can now purchase Worst Case Scenario wherever books are sold. And still to come, it's a job you may not have heard of before, a chiropractor for animals. In this week's TikTok, we meet the man giving much-needed adjustments to wildlife and going viral in the process.
Starting Monday, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz make their case for the White House. See it all streaming on ABC News Live. Non-stop coverage. David Muir and Linsey Davis reporting live at the Democratic National Convention on ABC News Live.
Let's go. The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer. It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Shohei Ohtani, legends of the game. But now the list of greats redefined. From ABC News, Reclaim the Forgotten League, a side of the story of baseball you have never heard before like this. The award-winning podcast is back. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or scan the QR codes you see here.
Every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. It's time to buy the right stuff.
And save big time, too. The Right Stuff. Fridays on GMA.
You're going to love it.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, start here. Nightline, the stories that shape your world, that shape your life. Dramatic, stunning, empowering, jaw-dropping. The most powerful stories of our time. Nightline, on right after Kimmel and streaming on Hulu.
Welcome back, everyone. We turn now to our weekly segment, TikTok, where we take a closer look at the story behind the sensation. Videos from Oklahoma-based chiropractor Dr. Joran Whitley regularly rack up millions of views like this one.
Now lift your head.
You can see this here. He's adjusting the neck of Jerry the giraffe, taking TikTok by storm, amassing more than 26 million views. But that was just another day in the office or barn or zoo for Dr. Whitley, who is licensed by both Oklahoma's veterinary and chiropractic boards. He joins us now. Welcome to the show, Doc.
No, thanks for having me.
So you treat animals and humans alike, but let's first talk about your 16-foot patient, Jerry. How did you know that he was in need of care?
So we actually got a notification from the owners, and they said, hey, he's got just something going on with his head, his neck, maybe his jaw. I was like, oh, okay, cool, we'll check him out. So we went, we checked him out, and we realized that he had a little bit of an issue in his jaw, and then he had an incident. And so he had a little bit of an issue in his upper neck, and it's super easy.
Why work with both humans and animals? Why not choose one or the other?
That's a great question. So I realized that animals can't really tell us where they hurt. They can't really tell us, hey, I have this problem, whereas a human can. And so I realized I can help everybody in the family. I can help the mom and the dad and the baby, but I should also be able to help the family pet. And too often we have people come in saying, hey, our dog is another member of our family. Our horse is another member of our family. And can you do anything? And so I realized that I needed to be able to kind of give them a voice.
I'm guessing animals might be more difficult to treat than humans because animals can't tell you where they hurt or what the problem is.
They are a little bit where I have to really know the biomechanics of the animal, and I have to watch them. I have to watch how they move. I have to assess everything that they're doing, and then take that, what I know with people, and go, okay, that must mean this. And then from there, be able to work on them. But I will say that animals don't complain whenever we work on them. They just try to bite. So.
And there's no shortage of videos of you working on horses, tigers, snakes, you name it. How are you able to tell when your treatment has been successful?
So actually, a lot of times it's with the actual owner. So the owner will say they couldn't do something before, and then they could do it after. So what we do is not necessarily based on pain. It's based on the function of the animal. So we weren't able to jump up on the bed before. Now we can. So we can immediately see that difference. And the owners report every single time, almost every single time, that the animal couldn't do something before. They're doing it again. They've got their dog back. Their dog is acting like a puppy again. It's about functionality and life change.
And what's the most unusual animal you've ever treated?
Oh man, I get that all the time. I've worked on bear cats, and I've worked on a rattlesnake. I worked at stuff in Africa. I really don't know. I would say a rattlesnake is probably the craziest thing I think I've worked
unique.
On. Yeah, very.
Which animals would you say have the easiest temperament versus which ones are the most difficult?
Every animal I think can be interesting. So we have like golden retrievers that come in here that love to be adjusted, but we've got the one or two that don't. Most small dogs hate me, which is fine. Most of the time, horses are really chill with the adjustment, and you can immediately see the difference in their temperament with like you can see it in their eyes. You see the breathing change. You see their head drop. You see the peace on their face. So I'd say like they're really easy to see the difference in, but honestly, puppies are probably the easiest to work on.
You're passionate, of course, about educating the public and really mainstreaming chiropractic care for animals. How has TikTok served as a good tool to drive that message?
Oh, yeah. So actually, animal chiropractic has been around since the early 1900s, but with technology, we're able to show more people that something like this exists. So instead of just talking to local people in our community, a video on TikTok can reach people all over the world, and they go, oh my gosh, I was going to put my dog down, but maybe I could go see an animal chiropractor. And so through that, just educating on the reality that chiropractic can help animals through either a veterinarian or a chiropractor who does animal chiropractic. It's just changing the perception of chiropractic as a whole, but also giving hope to people who realize that, or didn't have any hope at all. They realize that they can, again, have hope for their animal.
Really so fascinating, the work that you do. We are grateful for it, along with the animal kingdom, and want to let our viewers know that you can check out Dr. Whitley on TikTok at dr.joran_Whitley to see how he keeps both two-legged as well as four-legged patients in prime shape. Thanks so much, Doc. And that is our show for tonight. I'm Linsey Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and, of course, on abcnews.com. The news never stops. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night.
GMA surprised people across the country, helping find thousands in unclaimed money.
This really is a big check. Yeah!
And this summer, we're at it again.
That's incredible.
Because nothing's better than hearing you say,
"Show me the money!"
on Good Morning America.
Now streaming on Hulu.
I'm a rock and roll star.